House Minority Leader, though, John Boehner this morning has called on Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner to resign, a stunning development. But the Obama administration insists it is making improvements on the economy and that the country should stay the course. I'm going to get to Julianna Goldman at the White House with more on these comments from Boehner. Julianna.
Good morning, Betty. Well, essentially, the heat is on. What we're seeing right now is Republicans beginning to roll out their arguments ahead of the November elections. And you mentioned one of the headlines, House Minority Leader John Boehner called on the president, his top economic advisors, Larry Summers, Tim Geithner, to resign. He also called for an extension of all the Bush tax cuts for the middle class and for the wealthy that are set to expire. And so what we're seeing is, you were just talking about the housing numbers, all this economic uncertainty out there, voters increasingly less confident in the administration's handling on the economy, and so they're trying to tap into that, focus on the economy. And, you know, if we look back, I found a Bloomberg news story from last November that some of my colleagues had intrepidly written, essentially predicting that leading into November, you'd be hearing more calls from Republicans for Geithner's resignation, because Republicans are looking for an enemy right now. We heard from the president last week blaming Republicans, blaming former President George W. Bush for the economic mess. You know, he said we can't give the keys back to the drivers who got us into this ditch, namely the Republicans. And so now Republicans are looking for that enemy, and they see the president's economic team. And one of the other reasons why this is so significant is because John Boehner could be the next Speaker of the House. You know, sometimes members of the minority party in Congress, they sort of try to make headlines because they struggle to get airtime. But this is one of those cases where you factor in the upcoming elections, the fact that if Democrats, you know, lose and Republicans do take over, he's going to be the next Speaker of the House.
But Julianna, you know, with Boehner making these headlines, though, who are we going to see from the administration today to respond to this, if at all?
Well, that's right. I mean, the administration, they put out a sort of rebuttal to this speech. Dan Pfeiffer, the communications director, put a blog post defending the administration's economic policies. But Vice President Joe Biden, he seems to be the one who's carrying the administration's economic messages, the public face right now, as the president's on vacation in the vineyard. So we'll hear from him at 10:45 today.
All right. Julianna, thank you so much. Julianna Goldman at the White House.